Evam Sadvaitam Avadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So whoever can, please turn on your videos. At least it'd be nice to have one screen. There's like two screens of y'all, so I can have one screen, all videos on, then I'll feel like I'm teaching a class. All right. Thank you. So we left off on text 32. We did 32. And now we're starting. Oh yeah, who was it that had the question yesterday? Raki? Is she here?
Hare Krishna.
There she
Yes,
is.
Mataji.
You had the question, right? What happens if we don't make it in this lifetime? What if
Yes, Mataji.
we don't go back to God at the end of this lifetime? Then what happens to us?
Yes,
So,
Mataji. As I have just started this journey, and I was thinking that if I would die tomorrow, and on that time, on the time of my death, I couldn't remember the Krishna. So, what's going to happen with me?
right. Okay, good. So we're going to get to that when we get to text 37. But for now,
Yes, I was reading it, and I found something. But you
okay,
must
good.
read. Yes, you must explain something very nice.
Okay, good job. Thanks for reading ahead. So now Krishna has laid out the dhyana yoga system and he's given all the amazing results of controlling the mind. And now Arjuna is having some doubts, right? This is like at the end of the class here and then questions and answers time. So now Arjuna is having his questions and he's listened very attentively to Krishna speak and now he has some doubts here. So text 33. Oh, someone go ahead and read 33 and 34. Go ahead, Poonam.
Krishna. From 6.33, Arjuna said, O Madhusudana, the system of yoga which you have summarized appears impractical and unendurable to me, for the mind is restless and unstable. 6.34, for the mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong. O Krishna, and to subdue it, I think, is more difficult than controlling the wind.
Wind, yeah. So, yeah, now after hearing Krishna's instructions on meditation, Arjuna is being very open and honest. And he is saying basically, going to a lonely place in the mountains, sitting on a deer skin, staring at the tip of my nose all day, that's just not practical. That is just not going to happen, Arjuna is saying. So, and he's wondering, like, how is that even going to help him to control his mind? Right? He says, I think it would be easier to control this mind, easier to control the raging wind than to control my mind by this process. So he says some things here about the mind, that the mind is Chanchala. Yeah, this mind is chanchala means restless. It's always going here and there. And we experience that, right? Our minds are jumping from one thing to another. He says it twice. Text 33, he says, chanchala dvat stitam stiram. It's restless and unsteady. And then again, he says, chanchalam hi mana Krishna. That's the line that devotees quote a lot when they're talking about the mind. Chanchalam hi mana Krishna. Oh, Krishna, this mind is so restless. And then pramati, Prabhupada translates as turbulent. Yeah, pramati is a word that you can use to describe like a storm. The mind is stormy. It's like sometimes in the monsoon season, you get these raging wild storms. So the mind is like that. And balavad, so bala means strong, means strength. So the mind is very strong. And dridham, it's very determined. It's obstinate. It's stubborn. It's very determined to pull me off track. So it's not easy. Vayor iva sudushkaram. Dushkaram means difficult, and sudushkaram means very difficult, just like Vayor, just like the wind. So this is the situation. And so Prabhupada in the purport, he's saying that, yeah, people who just go and try to do some impersonal meditation, sit there staring at the tip of the nose all day, it's not possible in this age. Right? He says that 5,000 years ago, Arjuna had much better facility than we do now, and yet he refused to accept this system of yoga. In fact, we do not find any record in history of his practicing at any time. Arjuna didn't even try it. He was just like, that's not going to work. Forget that immediately. So he could understand there's no way that this is going to help me control my mind. I am not the and Arjuna was much more highly qualified than we are, right? Arjuna was born at a time when people were more pious, people were more religious, and also his parentage, his training, everything. He was so disciplined, so powerful of a person, the high quality, high caliber person, and yet he couldn't do it. So who do we think we are in Kali Yuga? Born in our mixed up families with all kinds of problems, and our health issues and our mental issues and our emotional issues, and we think we're going to control the mind by staring at the tip of the nose. Forget it. That's what Prabhupada says. Prabhupada says, therefore, this system must be considered generally impossible in the age of Kali. And Prabhupada didn't use the word impossible lightly, right? He once said that impossible is the word in a fool's dictionary. So when Prabhupada says impossible, he really means this is impossible. So yeah, this is generally impossible in the age of Kali. He says it might be possible for very few rare men, but in general, it's an impossible proposal. So if this was impossible 5,000 years ago, what to speak of today? And yet, he says there are those who are imitating this yoga system in different schools, societies, thinking that they're doing it. They're simply just wasting their time because they're completely in ignorance of the desired goal. So yeah, we discussed why is Krishna describing this process? Because some elements of this process can be supportive to our bhakti, right? We can be aware. It's good to be aware of the mind, the nature of the mind. Yes, this mind is stubborn, it's turbulent, it's obstinate, it's restless, and it's very strong. So then we know that when we're doing our japa or anything, the mind is going to be a problem. So we can brace ourselves that, prepare ourselves for that, take shelter of Krishna, and really try to do our sadhana with focus and attention to try to counteract this mind and pray to Krishna for his help. And yeah. Prabhupada in the text 34, Srila Prabhupada gives an analogy. He says, intelligence is supposed to direct the mind, but the mind is so strong and obstinate that it often overcomes even one's own intelligence, just as an acute infection may surpass the efficacy of medicine. So yeah, some of you are doctors out there. And so you know about this, that sometimes, if the disease is too bad, like if someone has cancer, but it's like stage 4, then, even chemotherapy, radiation, and all these things are most likely not going to help. Or if somebody has a virus and, you try to give them something, but the viral load is so big that the medicine is not going to be able to counteract it. The amount of medicine you would have to give them would probably kill the patient. So there's nothing you can do. So yeah, if an infection is very bad, then the medicine doesn't work. So in the same way, if the mind is so crazy, then even the intelligence, even if we know Shastra, even if we have good intelligence, we've been trained in Krishna consciousness, then we're not going to be able to control it. So, but fortunately, we have a very powerful process, right? We have a medicine that's very, very powerful, and that's the Hare Krishna mantra, right? Bhaktivinoda Thakur sings, he has a song, Jeev Jago. So Lord Chaitanya is saying, Jeev Jago, Gora Chandra Bole, Kota Nitra Jayomaya, Pishachira Kole. And then he says, Ainache Aushadi Maya, Nashi Baralagi, Harinama Maha Mantra, Lao Tumi Magi. It says that, wake up, you sleeping soul, so long you've been sleeping in the lap of the witch called Maya. That's our situation. We're sleeping in the lap of a witch. We're thinking that this nice lady that we're sleeping in her lap is very caring and motherly and affectionate and nice, and everything's going to be comfortable and harmonious. But actually, she's not a loving mother. She's a witch. And she has very bad intentions, right? She's just dragging us away from Krishna. She's casting her spell on us and bewildering us to make us think that material things can make us happy and make us think we're the body, make us think we're the mind and the senses. And that, yeah, the way to life is by earning a lot of money, having nice relationships, and, good family and good food and going on vacations. So that's how the witch bewilders. She casts her little spells. And we're sleeping very comfortably or uncomfortably in the lap of this witch. So he says this is like a disease. We're like in this state of disease condition where we're not our real selves. Sometimes when people the disease gets really bad, someone has a very, very high fever, they become delusional and they start, hallucinating, and they just lose track of who they even are and what they're supposed to do and things like that. So some diseases are like that, like if someone has really bad dementia or something, they'll start acting in a way that is not them. It's just not characteristic of who they are. So that's why we have that kind of disease. The kind of disease that's so delusional that we act in ways that's not the way that it's not according to who we are. We don't act as soul. We're souls, but we don't act as a soul. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, but don't worry, there's a medicine. There's a medicine that can cure this disease that's bewildering you and deluding you and making you weak and making you suffer. And that is the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So he says, just take this Hare Krishna mantra and just chant it, and everything is going to be okay. Gradually, the disease is destroyed. Yeah. And in Nectar of Instruction, Rupa Goswami compares, he says that we have this disease also of jaundice. We don't have a taste. That's the problem. We don't like the medicine, right? We have the medicine is there. It works very well. It's proven, it's tried, it's tested. They've done, millions of clinical trials and works every time. But still we're like, oh, I don't like the taste of it. It's bitter. So that's because we have another disease, which is jaundice. So jaundice affects the liver and makes all these bile secretions, and it makes your blood turn yellow and bitter, makes your everything taste bitter. So even if you take something sweet, it tastes bitter. And so the holy name by its nature is sweet because it's Krishna. And Krishna is Madhuram, right? Everything about Krishna is sweet. But so we're like the jaundiced person eating sugar and thinking, oh, this is bitter. Taste the holy name. Oh, I don't want to chant. I don't like to chant. I want to do this. I'd rather do that. Why am I doing this? I don't like this. So But what's the recipe for curing jaundice? It's just taking sugarcane juice. You just need to keep taking it, even though it's bitter. Just keep taking. And the holy name itself is the medicine that cures our jaundice, so that gradually we can taste the real sweetness of the holy name. And it also cures our material disease, this disease of Maya that's deluding us and making us think we're something that we're not, and making us act in ways that a soul would never act, if it was in its right mind. So like this. So Srila Prabhupada ends the purport of text 34 saying, the easiest way to control the mind, as suggested by Lord Chaitanya, is chanting Hare Krishna, the great mantra for deliverance in all humility. The method prescribed is Savai Mana Krishna Padara Vindayo. One must engage one's mind fully in Krishna, and then there will remain no other engagement to agitate the mind. So this is mantra, right? Man means mind and tra means to deliver. So this Hare Krishna mantra delivers the mind to a peaceful place, to the lotus feet of Krishna. But Prabhupada specifies here that we need to chant in all humility, right? More humble than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree. And that way we can chant nicely, can chant for our whole lives. Okay, so one thing we see here, so we see that Arjuna is being very open about his doubts. So he's getting the instruction from the spiritual master, and he's not just saying, yes, Guru Maharaj, whatever you say, Guru Maharaj, thank you for the instruction, Guru Maharaj. He's saying, I don't think that's going to work. I can't do that. Right? So it's okay to say that, it's okay to express our hesitations, our reluctancies, our feelings of inability to the spiritual master. It's better to do that than to be like, yes, Guru Maharaj, and then don't do it. Right? It's better to just be very open. There's one disciple that Srila Prabhupada sent to, I think he sent him to Iceland. Yeah, there was no temple in Iceland. And Srila Prabhupada thought, well, there's a lot of people there, Reykjavik, it's a big city. Go there and start a temple. So he sent the devotee, and so the devotee was like, yes, Srila Prabhupada, okay, Srila Prabhupada, I'll go. So he goes, and he didn't really want to go, but anyways, Prabhupada ordered him, so he went. But then he didn't do much. He just, he maybe chanted his rounds, walked down the street, and looked at people and went home and read his Bhagavad Gita or something. He couldn't do much. He was just like, he couldn't do it alone, or whatever. He wasn't strong enough to actually do the service. So then he went back, and Prabhupada called him, so how did the preaching go? He said, oh, not very well. I wasn't able to actually make any devotees or do much of anything except stay alive and do my sadhana. And then Srila Prabhupada asked him, well, what was the problem? He said, well, I think I needed some help. I needed support. I wasn't really strong. I'm not an outgoing person. I'm kind of introverted. It's really hard for me. Whatever, whatever his reasons were. And Prabhupada said, why didn't you tell me that? I could have found, a few other devotees to go with you, and you could have had a team, and you could have had support, and, you could have done the behind the scene work. So you had other people doing the front line, and you could have achieved something. But because he didn't, and then so he said, oh, he said, I thought it was inappropriate to, because they say that with the instruction of the spiritual master comes the ability to fulfill it. So he was just thinking, okay, I'm going to go there, I'm going to be empowered, and I'm going to do something that to my mind seems impossible. And Srila Prabhupada said, no, you should have expressed your hesitancies. We could have talked about it. We could have found ways to, make up for whatever weaknesses you feel you have. So like that, we have to be open and honest. And if the spiritual master says something, then we should be like, well, thank you very much for the instruction. These are some doubts. And Srila Prabhupada himself did that, right? When he first met Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, as soon as he paid his obeisances, he sat up and Bhaktisiddhanta said, oh, you're an educated young man. Why don't you go and spread Krishna consciousness in English to the English-speaking people? And Srila Prabhupada immediately, he said, no one's going to listen to me because I'm Indian, and India is a country that's, under foreign rule, and everyone's going to look at me and be like, you're just a loser because you don't even have independence. So first we need to get independence, and then, I'll be coming from, then India is in a strong position, and then we can spread the religion from India all over the world. And so that was his doubt, which he didn't hesitate. He just said it straight up. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, no. Krishna consciousness is too important to wait for any political adjustment. And also, it's independent of the political situation. It's very powerful. It has nothing to do with Indian politics. And then he answered it in such a strong, coherent way that Srila Prabhupada was like, all right, this person has a perspective that's higher than my own. And then he understood this was a person to take shelter of, because he had transcendental vision. So yeah, that's what Arjuna is doing here. He's saying, I don't think that's going to work because this, that, and the other thing. Okay, so now Krishna is going to respond. Let's read 35 and 36. Go ahead, Gitika.
Hare Krishna. Translation. Text 5, chapter 5, text 35. Sorry, chapter 6, text 35. Lord Shri Krishna said, O mighty Am, son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it is possible by suitable practice and by detachment. Text 36. For one whose mind is unbridled, self-realization is difficult work. But he whose mind is controlled and who strives by appropriate means is assured of success. That is my opinion.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, so the first thing that Krishna does is he agrees with him, right? He kind of validates Arjuna's concern. So he's being very sensitive and very understanding. He's not just saying, no, you're wrong, you're foolish. He's saying, yes, it's true. It is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind. But it's possible. It's possible by suitable practice and detachment. So then we need to know, what is that suitable practice? And Srila Prabhupada tells us in the purport, Prabhupada raises that question. He says, what is that practice? So we may not be able to do the things that Krishna was outlining before, like going to a secluded place and, staring at the tip of the nose and observing complete celibacy and remaining alone all by ourselves. But Srila Prabhupada, we can engage in the 9 processes of devotional service. And he specifically in this purport, he stresses on hearing. The first and foremost of such devotional engagements is hearing about Krishna. This is a very powerful transcendental method for purging the mind of all misgivings. So hearing is very, very important. Never underestimate the power of your ears. The ears are a very powerful organ, very powerful sense that can change the mind, change the heart, change the consciousness. So Prabhupada says, the more one hears about Krishna, the more one becomes enlightened and detached from everything that draws the mind away from Krishna. So yeah, Prabhupada says practice and detachment. So the good news here is that by hearing, we become detached. So the practice is hearing, and the result is detachment. That happens automatically from hearing, because the more we hear about Krishna, the more we get attracted to Krishna. We get attached to Krishna. And with that attachment to Krishna, we automatically get detached from anything that's not Krishna. So Prabhupada continuing here, by detaching the mind from activities not devoted to the Lord, one can very easily learn vairagya. Vairagya means detachment from matter and engagement of the mind in spirit. Impersonal spiritual detachment is more difficult than attaching the mind to the activities of Krishna. Yeah, so Krishna consciousness is very practical because it's easy to become attached to Krishna because Krishna is all attractive. And also it's the nature of the soul to be attracted and attached to Krishna. Krishna is like a magnet. It's like a very powerful magnet. And we little souls are like little small pieces of iron, like little iron nails. And then you put the magnet, big magnet there, and a small nail, and zoop, It just goes. You don't even have to touch it. It's automatically zhip, right? So the nature of the soul, the pure soul, is to zhip, just go to Krishna. And automatically, spontaneously, your mind just naturally just goes to Krishna. That's the healthy condition of the soul. But unfortunately, we've been in this material world so long, we got covered, right? So if a nail, small nail, gets covered with rust, then it won't be attracted. And so then what we need to do is get, some sandpaper or a steel brush and, rub that rust off. And then we get the rust off and then then the nail goes. So we need to get the rust off of our hearts, right? We need to purify the heart from all the heavy conditioning that's there over many lifetimes in the material world. And we do that by chanting, right? Cheto Darpanamarjanam, purifying the heart, getting the rust off the nail, and then we'll naturally be attracted to Krishna. Whereas impersonalists, they have a hard time becoming detached because they don't have anything to attach themselves to. It's just not this, not this, not this, not this. So it's like if you have a small child and they're holding on to something which they shouldn't be playing with, because it's dangerous, like a knife or something, valuable that could break. If you just go and take the toy away, the child is going to just cry and throw a tantrum. But if you come along and give them something nice, some nice toy that's meant to be played with by children, and then they'll be attracted to that, and the colors and the shapes, and you show them how you turn this and it makes some sound. They're like, oh, that's interesting. And then they drop the dangerous thing and they take the toy, and then they're happy with the toy. They're happier with the toy than they would be with that dangerous thing. So that's Krishna consciousness, is that our toy is Krishna. What we get is Krishna. So, yeah. And so when we have Krishna, Krishna is, so wonderful, so attractive, so exciting, his pastimes. He's the great adventurer. He's very adventurous. The more we know about him, the more we're going to be attracted, and then we'll give up all these material things. So, yeah. Prabhupada says, this attachment is called Paresh Anubhava, spiritual satisfaction. And now he's referring to the rest of this purport is referring to a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 11:2-42. So he's saying it's just like the feeling of satisfaction a hungry man has for every morsel of food he eats. So the more one eats while hungry, the more one feels satisfaction and strength. Similarly, by discharge of devotional service, one feels transcendental satisfaction as the mind becomes detached from material objectives. So yeah, that verse says that if you're hungry, as soon as you start eating, you'll get three things happen. You get free from your hunger, right? Your hunger goes away. You don't even have to think about it. Just by eating, your hunger goes away. And the body becomes nourished. You get energy and nutrition from your food, and you become happy, right? Everyone becomes happy when they're hungry, and then they get a nice meal. So in the same way, when we come to Krishna consciousness and begin devotional service, our material desires go away. In the same way that our hunger goes away from eating, our material desires and attachments go away. And then just like eating, we get nourished, we make spiritual advancement, we get spiritually nourished, we feel ourselves growing in our bhakti. And just like we become happy from eating, we also become very happy in Krishna consciousness. So no more material desires. We feel like every day we're getting nourished, we're satisfied, and fully satisfied by Krishna consciousness, just like you become fully satisfied by eating. And also we become happy in Krishna consciousness by pleasing Krishna. So, yeah. Parish Anubhava. Pada means the supreme, Isha means the Lord, and Anubhava means experience. So gradually we get actually an experience of the Lord. When we do devotional service, the reason that we get free from material desires and the reason we feel satisfaction and nourishment and the reason we feel happy is because we're actually having a direct experience of Krishna. We're experiencing Pada Isha, the supreme Lord, through service, to that service connection. So it's very, very powerful. And that's the only way to control the mind. That is how it's possible, is by devotional service, beginning with hearing. The hearing purifies, chanting purifies, and we become attracted. Okay. So then, yeah, in 36, Krishna is again agreeing that, yeah, if your mind is uncontrolled, self-realization becomes very difficult. But if it's controlled, then success is sure. Again, he's very reassuring. You just strive, just try, just put in the effort to hear about Krishna, chant Hare Krishna, follow the 9 processes of devotional service. That's the appropriate means. And if we just do that, we are going to be assured of success. Right? But we have to control the mind. So mind is always trying to drag us towards material enjoyment. And Prabhupada says in the purport that if we're trying to practice yoga, but at the same time, engaging the senses in material enjoyment, it's like trying to start a fire while pouring water on it. With one hand, you're like trying to, light a match, and the other hand, you're putting a cup of water on the same match that you're trying to light. So it's not going to happen. You're not going to have a fire. So you're going to keep going out. So Prabhupada says, same thing. This yoga, where they're doing some so-called yoga, but at the same time having illicit sex, eating meat, taking intoxication, etc., it's just a waste of time. So we have to not engage the senses in sense gratification, but engage the senses in the service of Krishna, and then everything becomes perfect. The very last sentence of text 34, Prabhupada says, a Krishna conscious person easily achieves the result of yoga practice without separate endeavor, but a yoga practitioner cannot achieve success without becoming Krishna conscious. So that just shows how Krishna consciousness is the topmost yoga system. It's the best way, because if a yogi is not Krishna conscious, even their yoga is not going to help them. Even all their exercises, their so-called attempts to control their mind and meditate, it's all a useless waste of time without Krishna consciousness. But a Krishna conscious person, just by hearing about Krishna, thinking about Krishna, we get all the results of all the yoga without even doing the practices of those other yogas. So would you rather work hard and get nothing and waste your time, or just think of Krishna and get all the benefits of everything? So that's bhakti. Bhakti is the best. Okay, any thoughts on this? Controlling the restless mind. Kishori.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, I have a question in verse 35. That
Yes.
in Krishna is saying that it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the reckless mind. So Mataji, how we can control our restless mind? How?
How? Prabhupada says by hearing about Krishna. That's the main thing.
Only about hearing Krishna.
Well, he
And
says
doing
the
Krishna
9.
seva.
Yeah, he says the 9 processes of devotional service, right? Hearing, chanting, remembering, doing deity worship, praying to Krishna, serving Krishna as a servant, serving his lotus feet, becoming his friend, offering everything to Krishna. But he says the first and foremost of these, the most important, is hearing. Because if we don't hear, then we're not going to be able to do other things. Yeah. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Archanam, Vandanam. Those. Okay. All right. So now Arjuna is going to raise another doubt. And this doubt is Rocky's question. What if I don't make it? Okay. So someone please read 37 to 39.
Mataji, may I?
Okay, go ahead.
Chapter 6, verse 37. Arjuna said, O Krishna, what is the destination of the unsuccessful transcendentalist who is in the beginning phase to the process of self-realization with faith, but who later does it due to worldly mindedness and thus does not attain perfection in mysticism? Verse 38. O mighty armed Krishna, Does not such a man, who is bewildered from the path of transcendence, fall away from both spiritual and material success, and perish like the raven cloud, with no position in any sphere? Mataji, shall I read? I have to
One
read
more.
more? One more.
Yeah, 39.
39. This is my doubt, O Krishna, and I ask you to dispel it completely. But for you, no one is to be found who can destroy this doubt.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, so it seems that Arjuna here is so sure that he's going to fail that he's basically asking, what happens if I fail? Right? Because this Ashtanga yoga practice is just difficult, right? The Ashtanga yogis have to give up everything. They give up their job, they give up their family, friends, possessions, in pursuit of a spiritual goal. But then if they die without achieving success, either materially or spiritually, where do they go? So we might think that, because especially nowadays we're brought up, in education, and our families are always pushing us, get a degree, get another degree, get a career, get a good job, earn money, this, that, the other thing. So we invest in all of these things, or at least we're on that path, right? We have that trajectory in our lives. And then we meet a devotee, we come to Krishna consciousness, and devotees, especially if you're male, they're going to be like, no, you should join the brahmachari ashram, forget about your education, forget about your school, and just, serve Krishna. This is the only purpose of human life, to reestablish your relationship with Krishna. And, what's the use of all these other, don't worry, we'll take care of you. You don't need money, like this. So sometimes devotees preach that way. So let's say a devotee does. He says, okay, I get it. Yeah, I just want to just give this one life to Krishna, move into the ashram, shave my head, all this, close my bank account, give all the money to the temple. That's what we all did back in the day. I remember doing that. I had finished my bachelor's degree, and then I was traveling, and I was supposed to go get a PhD. And I had a full scholarship to get a PhD from Harvard University, which was going to be fantastic, right? And then I met devotees on the round the world trip. I met the devotees, and they're like, this education is the slaughterhouse of the intelligence. Intelligence is meant for understanding God. Just stay with us. And anyway, so I thought, well, let me try it. And I'll stay here for a few weeks and see how I like it. And then, of course, I was just like, this is it. This is all I want to do with my life. I just want to serve Krishna. So, yeah, that's what I did. I didn't go and get my PhD. Oh, I had some money in my bank account that I'd been saving. And I just, took all that money, and whatever was left over from paying off my college loans, I just gave to the temple, and that was it. Zero money. And end of my education. And then I was just out doing book distribution every day. But it was a good life. Anyway, so the thing is that often we give up a lot to be able to, even if you don't quit your job, even if you don't change your life, your external life so substantially, but still just to chant 16 rounds every day takes, at least 2 hours of your time, which you could be using for something else, right? You're sitting in this class right now, 2 hours, Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you could be doing something else. You could be earning money. You could be, doing some course that's going to help you in your career. You could be, whatever. There's so many things you could be doing. So you're choosing to invest your time in this and sacrificing maybe some aspect of your material life for this. Okay. So then Arjuna is thinking, well, if I give up all the material things and just devote myself to spiritual life, but if spiritually also I don't make it, if I don't go back to Godhead at the end of this life, then what happens to me? I'm neither here nor there. I was just a failure materially, a failure spiritually. I'm just a complete loser in life. Right? So that doubt can come up. And then he uses this analogy of the cloud. So it's like when there's a big cloud, then it's one big, cohesive thing. And after all, all a cloud is water vapor, right? It's just like steam that gets together and partially condenses. So that's what the cloud is. So if a little piece of cloud separates from the big cloud, then it's all by itself and has a lot more surface area, and then it can just dry up. That's what happens. It just kind of like dries up in the air when the sun shines on it. It's just, it's gone. It's not a cloud anymore. So he's saying, well, if I break away from my material life and I give up everything, but then I don't have the spiritual strength to keep going, then I'm just going to be like that little cloud that just dries up and just disappears, and I'm just a total nobody like that. So it's a serious, it's a practical concern, right? And I'm sure a lot of devotees have that concern, especially, you know, before they move into brahmacharya ashram or you know, whatever, you know, you can have these doubts. So now Krishna is going to answer the question. So this is, yeah, what if, answer to, what if I fail? So let's read. Let's see. Let's go ahead and read all the way 40 to 45. Ishwar.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Text number 40. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Son of Partha, a transcendentalist engaged in auspicious activities has not made its destruction either in this world or in this future world. One who does good, my friend, is never overcome by evil. Text number 41. The unsuccessful yogi, after many, many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pious living entities, is born into a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy. Text number 42. Or if unsuccessful after long practice of yoga, he takes his birth in a family of transcendentalists who are surely great in wisdom. Certainly, such a birth is rare in this world. Text 43. On taking such a birth, he revives the divine consciousness of his precious life, and he again tries to make further progress in order to achieve complete success. O son of Guru. Text number 44. By virtue of the divine consciousness of his previous life, he automatically becomes attracted to the yogic principles even without seeking them. Such an inquisitive transcendentalist stands always above the ritualistic principles of the scriptures. Text 45. And when the yogi engages himself with sincere endeavor in making further progress, being washed of all contaminations, then ultimately achieving perfection after many, many births of practice, he attains the supreme goal.
Okay, thank you very much. So Krishna gives a very positive answer. He says, don't worry. One who does good, my friend, is never overcome by evil. In other words, nothing bad is going to happen to you. You're not going to be a loser. You're not going to be a failure. And Krishna has already said back in, which verse was it? 241, that Neha Bikramanasosti Pratyavayo Navidyate Swapam Apyasya Dharmasya Trayate Mahato Bayat. That in this endeavor there's no loss and no diminution. Even a little bit of advancement on this path can save one from the most dangerous type of fear. So that's the situation. Yeah, that's 240. That whatever we do, whatever progress we make spiritually, it's for our eternal benefit. And whatever we do materially, that's going to be lost anyway. And that's why, yeah, in the purport, the first thing that Prabhupada does in text 40 purport is he quotes Narada Muni. Tyaktva sadharmam charanam bhajam hare bhajana bhagavata patettato yadi yatra kvavabhadrama buddhamushikim kovarto apto bhajatam swadharmata. So this tyaktva means giving up. So he says, even if you give up your swadharma means your duties according to, you know, like your varnashram duties. So that's basically like, even if you quit your job, even if you don't take care of your, you stop your worshiping the ancestors, your pinda or whatever obligations, even if you stop giving in charity or something like that, whatever duties you have in this lifetime, even if you neglect those duties for the sake of charanam bhujam harer, for the sake of worshiping the lotus feet of Krishna, then even if you fall down, bhajan apakva ta patet tatoyadi. So patet tatoyadi means even if you fall down, right? Patet is like patita. Even if you become fallen, because of bhajan apakvo, because your bhajan, your worship, your devotion is immature, right? Apakvo means it's not paka, it's not ripe, it's immature. So even if your bhajan, even if because your worship of the Lord is immature, you fall down, still you're better off than somebody who does their material duties perfectly. Right? Basically says, Yatra kwav abhajam abud amushukim kovarto apto pajitam sudar. He says, what is the value? He says, what is the value of somebody who does their swadharma perfectly, but abhajatam, but doesn't worship the Lord? There's no value. It's like a rhetorical question. So he's saying that if you start this process, even if you fall down, you're much better off than somebody who never started it, even if that person, was so it's better to be a so-called failure in spiritual life than to be a success in material life. That's what he's saying. That's how important spiritual life is. Even if you try and fail, you're much better than somebody who, was very successful in their material life and became a high position, became the prime minister, became a millionaire, whatever. That's all useless compared to the person who, became a bhakta and, went and did some service at the temple for a few weeks and then left and then just got back into Maya. But at least that few weeks was more valuable than that other person's whole career, no matter how successful they were. So that's how it's incomparable. You can't even compare the benefits of spiritual life with anything in material life. Really, the only beneficial life is spiritual life. Nothing else actually benefits us as souls. And the only reason that money and comforts and material resources, a car and phone and family and friends, and the only reason all these things are valuable is if to the extent that they support us in our spiritual life. Otherwise, it's all problematic. It's just entangling. It just gives us karma and bad reactions and material entanglement and rebirth again and again and again. So that's why we need to connect everything to Krishna. Everything should be a support. Accept what's favorable for our spiritual life and reject what's unfavorable. And just use that as our parameters for making all of our decisions in life. Because the most important thing is our spiritual advancement. Even if we fail, it's still successful. Okay. So then what happens? Okay, so what happens to this person who didn't make it back to Godhead, although they started practicing bhakti yoga? So there's two different possibilities. First, Prabhupada says that the person who practiced for a short time, right? Prabhupada says the unsuccessful yogis are divided into two classes. One is fallen after very little progress, and one is fallen after a long practice of yoga. So if you only practice devotional service for a short time, like maybe a couple of years or something, and then you just kind of fall away and go back to your material life, then at the end of your life, when you leave your body, what happens is you're going to go to the higher planets, right? Maybe you're going to heavenly planets, or you're going to above Swarga. There are other higher planets, right? Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, Brahmaloka, one of those higher planetary systems in the material world. and you're going to live there for a very long life, and you're going to have a lot of enjoyment. Everything is going to be more or less nice. Of course, Abrahama Bhuvanaloka Puna Avarjinarjuna, there's still going to be, death. There's still some miseries that even the demigods are afraid of the demons attacking them and things like that. Sometimes they even get insecure when devotees become too powerful, they feel threatened and things like that. So it's not all a bowl full of cherries, but it's a lot better than the standard of living is much higher than on earth. So one gets rewarded in that way. And then after that lifetime is finished, then you come back to earth and you'll take birth in a good family, right? A family of righteous Brahmins or people in a wealthy family. So anybody you see that, is born in a very wealthy family, very pious, noble family, and especially a Brahmin or a Vaishnav family, that's because, they practiced some devotional service in the past. So, and then he says that, so that's text 41. In text 42, then he says, or if unsuccessful after a long practice, so now you've practiced devotional service for, for decades, maybe for most of your life, for 20, 30, 40 years, but still whatever you had some material desires or attachments you couldn't let go of, or you committed some offense or something like that that destroyed, some of your spiritual advancement. So after a long practice, if you're not successful, you don't go back to Godhead, then you'll just take birth in a family of transcendentalists who have a lot of spiritual wisdom. In other words, you'll take birth in a devotee family, because who else are the transcendentalists? So you'll take birth in a nice devotee family. You'll be raised in Krishna consciousness. Your mother's going to be, chanting while you're in the womb. She's going to be reading Srimad Bhagavatam to you. And, you're going to eat only prasadam your whole life. You're going to be always hearing, kirtan and going to the temple and seeing the deities. And, you're going to get so many benefits. Your parents are going to be, your caretakers are going to just be reading Krishna stories to you and Mahabharata stories and Ramayana stories. You're going to grow up like that, playing with Krishna dolls and, like that. So, you get that best start. And Srila Prabhupada says, he gives himself as an example of this, getting the spiritual impetus from the very beginning of life. So he says, by the grace of the Lord, there are still families that foster transcendentalists generation after generation. It is certainly very fortunate to take birth in such families. Fortunately, both our spiritual master, Om Vishnupad, Sri Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, and our humble self had the opportunity to take birth in such families by the grace of the Lord. And both of us were trained in the devotional service of the Lord from the very beginning of our lives. Later on, we met by the order of the transcendental system. So yeah, Srila Prabhupada, he describes how he was a small boy and he would wake up in the morning and his father would be ringing the arti bell, offering arti to the household deities. And at night he would come home and he would just take shower, put on his devotional clothing and go and worship the deities before going to bed, take a little prasadam. And Prabhupada in his childhood, he would do Ratha Yatra. Oh, every day he would go to the temple, Radha Govinda temple of the Mullaks that was just not far down the street. Take darshan there every single day. And he did his own Ratha Yatra, children's Ratha Yatra festival. So Srila Prabhupada had these samskars, these impressions. Of course, he was a Nitya Siddha. He had come from the spiritual world. So he wasn't someone who was an unsuccessful yogi in his past life, but he's giving himself as an example. But like this, so as long as you start Krishna consciousness, that's why it's good to stick to it as long as you can. Just don't leave. Whatever you do, don't leave. Even if you leave, it's not bad. You're going to go to the higher planets. You're going to have a good life. You're going to come down to earth again, take birth in a wealthy family, nice pious Brahmin family, and you'll have a comfortable life. But as long as you're in the material world, there's going to be suffering. But if you practice for a long time, then you can be born in a devotee family, and you can get Krishna conscious education and training from the very beginning, and you can really focus Gitika, you have a question about this?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Mataji,
Right.
I have a question that, like in the Battle of Kurukshetra, Arjun's duty is that he have to fight.
Yeah.
Okay. And right now we are the students, and our duty is to study. We have to study material things like our university studies or college studies. So is it binding us?
Is it binding
Will
you?
yeah
It just depends
will
on your consciousness. Like if you're doing it like I'm studying, if you're doing it like with a mood of just material enjoyment, I'm studying so I can get a job and earn money and enjoy myself in this world, then it will be
no
binding. But if you're
okay.
studying thinking I'm going to get some education so that I can work, I can use my skills and my learning in Krishna's service, I can work in a job that, to earn money to support the temple, uh, to, worship my home deities, take care of my Vaishnav, my devotee family, then it's different, right? Then it's not binding.
Okay, I get my answer.
That's the whole thing. That's the whole message of Bhagavad Gita, because he wants Arjuna to fight. But in the beginning, Arjuna is he's thinking materially. He's thinking, oh, fighting is to get the kingdom or to get prestige or to, social benefits for, whatever. He's thinking in a mundane way. And then Krishna is basically saying, well, if you're going to fight for mundane purposes, you're going to get karma. Right? You're going to get entangled. But if you fight as an offering to me on my order for my pleasure because I want you to, then it's different. Then you're going to be liberated by that fighting. So whether we become entangled by what we're doing or liberated by what we're doing just depends on our intention, right? Why we're doing it. If we're doing it for material enjoyment, then we're going to be entangled. If we're doing it in the service of Krishna or Krishna's devotees, then we're going to be liberated.
Like as me, I am studying right now for because of one mission of my life. It's like distributing the Bhagavad Gita all over the world. Like in every hand there is a Bhagavad Gita.
Jai. What are you studying?
I'm studying computer science.
Computer science. And then you're going to use that to teach people Bhagavad Gita. That's great. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, so if that's the reason you're studying, then that's devotional service, and it's purifying. Not only does it not entangle us, but it frees us from all of our past karma. Right? Whatever we do in Krishna consciousness and devotional service. So yeah, keep doing everything that you do in that consciousness, that you want to please Krishna, you want to spread Krishna consciousness, you want to serve Srila Prabhupada's mission, the mission of Lord Chaitanya, the mission of Krishna, and then everything will be glorious. Okay, Raki, are you feeling good about this?
Yes, Mataji. As we have all the answers in this Bhagavad Gita, but it seems still difficult that I don't know I could achieve the goal or not. So sometimes the Maya is so powerful, and when actually you are surrounded by that people who are completely in Maya, and so sometimes my mind, like my monkey mind, is always active. So it seems difficult yet.
Yeah, Maya's too strong.
Yes, very,
So
very
we have to
strong.
keep chanting and keep hearing and keep associating with devotees, and we have to keep taking prasadam. Prabhupada said taking prasadam is like a vaccine against Maya. So yeah, be careful what you eat and try not to contaminate yourself.
And Mataji, one more thing is that I want to ask that here all the students maybe they have the purpose that the Kitika said that I want to spread, I want to teach Bhagavad Gita or something like that. So if
Yeah.
I'm thinking about myself, as I'm not allowed to go somewhere or preaching, maybe online it's okay, but I'm not allowed to go somewhere to preach or anything. So if I'm only thinking about myself, like this Bhakti Shastri course that I'm doing is just because of myself, that I want to better my life.
Mhm.
So is it selfishness?
No, it's also good because this is what Krishna wants us to do, right? Krishna spoke this Bhagavad Gita for a reason because he wants us to know it. So I mean, in one sense, you could say it's selfish, but it's for the real self-interest, right? It's not for your own selfish material enjoyment, but it's like you're trying to get yourself back to Godhead, which Krishna also wants. So as long as your so-called selfish desire is aligned with Krishna's desire for you, then it's good. Then it's not actually selfish, okay, in the bad sense of the term. So, and yeah, go ahead and do some online classes. Even if you feel like you can't give a class, all you need to do is go to YouTube, start yourself a YouTube channel. You just go there, you click go live, and then you just start reading. You know, you can just read, and then if some thoughts come to your mind, you just speak them, read a little more, speak something, read, or just read. Even if you don't speak anything, you just read. And you know, people will start listening. Like I started I started reading for a while. I was just doing a reading here in the afternoon, and then someone gave me the idea, oh, why don't you, anyways, you're reading and speaking a few things, why don't you just live stream it? You never know, somebody might watch it. And now, like every day, maybe like, you know, 50, 100 people are just tuning in or watching it later because it will stay on your channel as a recorded lecture after that. So you just never know, you know, you might be getting like thousands of followers.
Yes, maybe.
So it'll reach somebody. Vina? Sorry. And even if you don't get thousands of followers, it'll be good for you, you know? Because if you decide that was one thing that I did to kind of trick myself. For a while, I was so busy that I was not getting my daily reading done. So what I did was I said, okay, every day at 8 p.m., I'm gonna go onto YouTube and I'm going to read live. And so I told some of my friends that I was going to do that. So they said, okay, we're gonna attend. And then they also shared. And before you know it, I had maybe 25 people there. And so it'd be like 7:30 and I'd be busy and I'd be like, no, I have to go because I have to read at 8 p.m. because I have like 25 people waiting for me there. And then I would just read. It was literally my just personal reading, but I would just read out loud. I wouldn't do Q&A. I wouldn't say much. I would just read. And it was a way of keeping myself accountable to make sure I got my daily reading done. So you can trick yourself that way. Okay, Vina, sorry. Can't hear you. Seems like your mic is not. Oh, there we go.
Hare Krishna. Am I
Yes.
audible?
Yes.
Yes. Mataji, my question is sometimes we are unable to manage many things like going on in our life, like there is a job or there is another classes or all that. And for suppose I'm taking class today and there is like we feel like we can do it. We think we may rise in Krishna consciousness. On the other day, we didn't do any service or didn't complete the 16 rounds or of japa. So we feel demotivated and unable to manage. And there are so many doubts come that we cannot do it or matlab, uh, how to how to be motivated all the time for that.
Yeah. So just, I mean, if you had a bad day, previous day, and you didn't do things that you wanted to do for your sadhana or your service, then you don't worry about it. Just don't dwell in the past. Just like push the reset button and start again. You know, it's like if you fall down, just pick yourself up, brush yourself off, and start again. Because we're in Krishna consciousness, we're like babies. You know, when a small baby is learning how to walk, they're going to fall down, right? They take a few steps, boom. And then they get themselves up and take a few more steps, then boom. You know, it just repeated. But, you know, if the baby, every time he falls down, after maybe 3-4 times of falling, he's like, that's it. I can't do this. I'm not going to learn to walk. I'll just crawl for the rest of my life. Then, you know, they might never learn to walk. And that would just be ridiculous, right? So same thing. We're like babies in Krishna consciousness. So one day we're doing well, we take a few steps and then boom. And then another, we don't do so well. And then we, okay, get up again, try again, make a few steps forward, boom. So it's like that. That's the beginning stage. And that's normal. It's called anishtita bhajana kriya, unsteady devotional service. But if we keep trying, and Krishna is going to bestow his mercy on us, and then we're going to be able to, our life will, you know, things will become easier. Krishna will help. He'll make the arrangements for us.
It's like seem more difficult, like we are living with these families of the association.
Your sound is fuzzy. Like I can hear, but it's like distorted. I can't understand what you're saying.
Mataji, I'm saying that it is more difficult when we are living with the non-devotee friend or family, like all surrounding your workplace or wherever you go. So
Yeah. Definitely more difficult. It's definitely challenging that way, right? But we just have to keep trying. And Krishna, he knows our situation. He knows that it's difficult. So if we keep trying, even though it's difficult, then he's going to help us even more. We're going to get more mercy. So you just keep trying and keep praying to Krishna and tell him, Krishna, my situation is so difficult, but here I am trying to chant, trying to serve, trying to offer my food, trying to read, trying to take Bhakti Shastri. Please help me. Okay? Krishna will help. All right, Krishna Priya.
Hi Krishna Mataji. Mataji, I have a question regarding Maya. Like you mentioned also the Jiva Jago verse of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and you mentioned that here Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying Maya, a witch, a Pishachini. So my question is that if Maya is Krishna's energy, and yesterday we were also discussing that the modes of nature or Maya, they are like perfectly works under the control of Krishna. So
Yeah.
why does it happen that Maya always look like a terrifying? Like, is there any time that it looks like a merciful and like why is that happen that a person is forgetting Krishna because of his own free will, but we are blaming Maya that because of you, you are binding us, yes, the souls, the jivas. So we see Maya like a very terrifying. So I just want to know, is there any time when Maya will be merciful to us?
Yeah. You know, Maya doesn't even like her job. She has a terrible job. Like, you know, the pastime of I think this is a pastime that happens in Mayapur, that, you know, there's a Simantini temple. There's a temple of Lord Chaitanya and Simantini Devi. So she hears that the Lord is going to appear in Navadvip Dham, and she goes there and she hears about the glories of Navadvip Dham. So she goes there and she just starts chanting Gauranga, Gauranga, Gauranga. And then after some time, doing her austerities there and chanting Gauranga, then Lord Chaitanya actually appears to her. And then she, you know, she pays her obeisances and she glorifies him. And then she expresses her troubled heart. And she says, my Lord, you're so merciful. And, you know, you have so many nice devotees. And look at me in my position. Nobody likes me. Everybody just wants me to go away. My whole service is just disturbing people and taking them away from your service and bewildering them and putting them into illusion. I have such a bad service. What hope is there for me? Like that. So he says, don't worry. What you're doing is very important because people need to learn how to make the right choices. And when they make wrong choices, then they have to deal with you. And then you punish them. It's kind of like, good cop, bad cop. Have you ever heard that? Good cop, bad cop. So one person plays one cop comes and says, I can understand your situation here. This is really difficult for you. You got yourself in a fix. I really want to try to help you. I want to try to make your life easier. And so the other cop is going to come and talk to you. He's going to ask you some hard questions. And I just want to tell you, like, the more honest you are, and the more you just tell the truth when you answer the questions, the more easy it's going to be. And because he can be really tough and intimidating. But if you just stay calm and just tell the truth, see, if you try to lie, it's going to be more complicated. So just tell the truth. So then when he goes, and then the other cop is like, okay, what did you do? Then he's like, I did this. And then it's like, they get it. Then they know he's the criminal. They put him in jail. It's done deal, right? So like that. Maya's like the bad cop. So Maya comes in and she's just like, you rascal, you're going to suffer. Now you're going to get the consequences of your actions. You want to turn away from Krishna. All right, we'll cover you and you're going to see what this feels like. And then the devotee comes along and says, you know, this is the influence of Maya. You need to understand the Lord's material energy, how it works, and you need to surrender to Krishna. So from the two sides, right? One is encouraging us to do the right thing, and one is punishing us for doing the wrong thing. So both need to be there. And actually, they've done studies. Studies have shown that human beings respond more to negative punishments than they do to positive incentives, right? Like if you tell the person that, let's see, if you tell the person that, oh, what's an innocent crime? All right, if you tell the person that if you stop at the stop sign or at the red light and you do that, every day for a month, we're going to give you some amount of money, or we're going to put your name on a plaque as a good citizen or something like that. And they're not going to do it. But if you tell them, if you go through the stop sign, if you drive through the red light, you're going to get like, $100 fine, then they're going to stop because they don't want to pay the $100. So that's the nature of human psychology, is that we respond, we act in order to avoid suffering more than we act to try to actually be proactive about getting happiness. So Maya's role is very important because she's more influential. She's actually more influential than, all the good things, all the rewards. So she's doing a good service. Maya is making sure that we don't fall into Maya. Because when we get into Maya, we suffer too much. Right? At least for devotees. So Maya is actually helping us. And you can feel it, when your mind starts going a certain way, you start feeling like your consciousness is going, and immediately you start feeling bad, you start feeling depressed, you start feeling, anxious. So this is Maya's way of showing us that we don't want to go there. Is that
Thank
okay?
you so much, Mataji. Yes.
All right. Okay, so yeah, try to stay in Krishna consciousness as long as you possibly can. Don't let Maya pull you away. And because the longer you stay, the better your next life is going to be. Because, I mean, if you leave after a short time, it's still, you still go to the higher planets, but then you have to live on the higher planets for like such a long time. And yeah, you have to stay in the material world for so much longer. Whereas if you practice for a short time, for a long time in this life, you spend most of your life, then you can take birth in a devotee family next time, and then very good chance of going back to Godhead. But the best thing is just try to be really serious in this lifetime and make this your last lifetime in the material world. But in any case, there's a safety net, right? At least we don't have to go to hell. At least we don't have to become an animal. At least we don't have to be born in poverty and ignorance and, family of a really bad family. Unless Krishna has some purpose for us to do that, right? Like there's some actually like Nitya Siddha devotees who were born in non-devotee families, families that were even eating meat in America, because Krishna knew that Prabhupada was going to America and he needed help. And there weren't any devotee families, any Vaishnava families in America at that time. And basically everybody in the 1960s and 1970s was eating meat. Practically vegetarianism was unheard of. So there are some great devotees who appeared here. We have Jayapataka Swami and Radhanath Swami and these, very exceptional devotees who were born in the families of meat eaters and non-devotee families. And so Prabhupada said that. He said that Prabhupada said one time to his disciples, he said that my spiritual master has sent you to help me. Krishna has arranged that you take birth here just to support me. And one of his disciples said, Prabhupada, how is that possible? We were born in such low families, degraded families, we ate meat the whole time growing up. That's what our parents fed us from a baby food jar from the time we were born. And, we watched TV and did so many things wrong, intoxication and things. And Prabhupada said, yeah, that's all true. But when I called, you came running. In other words, as soon as they met Srila Prabhupada, they immediately left it all and just joined. They just gave it all up and they just joined and they just dedicated their lives to Prabhupada's service, and to this day, total dedication to Prabhupada's service, and they never went back to that life. So it was just a situational thing that these people, and if you look even like, see Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was born in a family of, his family were not devotees. They were like Shaktas. They were worshiping demigods and they were doing all kinds of like, he had one uncle that was like a tantric doing black magic. And like, if you read about his early life, it's very unusual. It's like not very conducive, to Krishna consciousness. But the situation of the world was like that. There weren't many devotee families at that time, right? Krishna consciousness was so degraded. Krishna was probably thinking, oh, better that he takes birth in a family of just whatever demigod worships than take birth in a family of Sahajiyas or, these Gauranga Nagaris or, people that were, like an Uppa Sampradaya. Like sometimes it's better to be just totally materialistic than to think you're religious. And then because if you think you're religious, then you won't open your mind to other religions. You'll be like, all right, that part of my life is taken care of. But if you have no religion, then you'll be interested in religion and you might find the real religion. So that's what happened. Bhaktivinoda Thakur actually got so disgusted with all of his like religious practices of his family that he started going to Christianity. He was like becoming a Christian, thinking, oh, at least the Christians worship God. Whereas these other people worship just all these demigods and spirits and ghosts and things. This is like crazy. Nothing to do with this. So then he started going into Christianity, and then he came in contact with Vaishnavas, and then of course his natural Vaishnava heart was awakened, and he became the great Vaishnava who he always was. So like that can also happen. But it's like what Krishna says here, that when they take such a birth, that the divine consciousness of the previous life is very easily revived, right? So whatever spiritual realizations you get in this life, you're not going to lose those. Whatever spiritual advancement you make in this life, you're not going to lose that. And when you take birth in a devotee family, or even in a family that's not devotees, you'll come in contact with devotees. And as soon as you do, everything is going to be revived. And then you'll start practicing with a lot of determination. You'll pick up right where you left off in the last life. And that's why we see some people when they come to Krishna consciousness, they practiced bhakti in the past life because they very quickly, they're very enthusiastic. They learn everything very quickly. They they're showing a lot of devotional qualities from very early on, but then they come to a point where then things slow down for them. Right? And that's because they came up to the point where they left off in the last life. It's like, express. It's kind of like, when you're in line, right? You're standing in a queue waiting for prasadam or something. Okay. And then something happens, you need to go take care of something, but you tell the person to save my place. Right. So then you come back and you walk straight past all the people that were in line behind you and you come back to where you were. But now you need to wait. You still need to wait in line because there are people in front of you. Right. So it's like that. We come back to where we were, but then now we need to do the work to complete the process, to do the part that we didn't do that was missing in the past life. And that's not going to be easy. So sometimes we see that with our, children born in devotee families. They love kirtan, they like all the Krishna stories and the dramas and all the, the fun things, prasadam and this and that. But then when it comes down to chanting japa and being really serious and surrendering and serving, that's hard. Because that's where they failed in the past life. And that's what they need to work on in this life. So, yeah. But we always get an opportunity to just complete it. If we don't complete it in this life, we'll complete it in the next life. So that's why, that's why in text 44 purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying that people who chant the holy names of your lordships are far, far advanced in spiritual life, even if they're born in families of dog eaters. Such chanters have undoubtedly performed all kinds of austerities, sacrifices, bathed in the sacred places, and finished all scriptural studies. And he gives the example of Haridas Thakur, that he was born in a Muslim family, that he was, eating meat and all this when he was young. But he met Lord Chaitanya and he became the Namacharya. So his birth was irrelevant. It was just literally Haridas Thakur is like an eternally liberated soul. And the reason he took birth in a Muslim family was just to teach the world that anybody can become a Vaishnava. It doesn't matter if you're born in a Muslim family or a Christian family or a non-devotee family, a Jewish family, or, Buddhist family or an atheist family. It doesn't matter. Just chant the holy name and you can be perfect. Yeah. But the fact that Haridas Thakur took so seriously to chanting the holy name says it's understood that he must have done all the devotional practices, all the ritualistic methods of the Vedas in the previous life. So that's why in Nectar of Instruction it says that anybody who chants Hare Krishna, anyone who chants the holy name of Krishna is worthy of our respect. We should respect that person because they're chanting the name of Krishna. That means they must have done a lot of pious activities in the previous life. They're already elevated. Okay, and then in 45, he says that when the yogi then, having been born in a good situation for bhakti, then sincerely endeavors, right? He says when the yogi engages himself with sincere endeavor, in other words, working hard, working sincerely in making further progress, then whatever impurities were remaining from the previous life, they get washed away and the person attains perfection and is able to go back to Godhead. So it's a journey that happens over sometimes, usually several lifetimes, but probably most of you have already practiced bhakti in a previous lifetime. And that's why from such a young age, you're chanting and you're taking this seriously. You're really trying to study the scriptures and, wanting to share Krishna consciousness with the world. So that means you're picking up where you left off. And so now just use this lifetime and endeavor very sincerely to purify the heart of whatever's still remaining and finish the business, basically, right? Perfect yourself. But it's going to require some work. But what happens is sometimes some devotees, they come in and it's very easy in the beginning and then they come to that stopping point where, oh no, now it's difficult. And then they leave because it's difficult. It's like, no, don't leave. This is where you're going to start. You're just picking up where you left all your things from the past life. You brought you to this point, and now you got to do the work for this lifetime's work. So that's, of course, now you need to work. This is going to be hard. You need to sincerely endeavor now. So don't be discouraged if you get to some point in your Krishna consciousness where you just like, you feel like you just came up against a brick wall and you're like, oh my God, now what? This is so hard. I'm getting nowhere. My chanting is not helping me. The devotees aren't helping me. I don't know what to do here. I'm not making any spiritual advancement anymore. It was so easy before, and now I'm just stuck. And like, don't be discouraged. It's like, now this is the time to like roll up your sleeves and really start praying and getting very serious about your service, your consciousness while you're doing your service, even being very intentional about everything that you do, and make that spiritual advancement. Get the Lord's mercy. Okay, so text 46. Someone please read for us. Niha.
Text 46. A yogi is greater than ascetic, greater than the empiricist, and greater than the fruitive worker. Therefore, O Arjun, in all circumstances, be a yogi. Text 47.
Go ahead.
Text 47. And of all yogis, the one with great faith who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself, and renders transcendental loving service to me. He is most immediately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. That is my opinion.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so Krishna is saying be a yogi. And yoga means connection to the Lord, right? Yoga means to link up with the Lord. So he's saying that don't just be an ascetic, a tapasvi, doing some austerities in the forest. Don't just be an empiricist, like somebody who just wants knowledge for the sake of knowledge. Don't be a fruitive worker, someone who's just trying to get ahead in the material world. Don't do anything separate from me, but be a yogi, connect with me. Whatever you do, just connect it with me. Do it as an offering to me. And that's how you become a yogi. So in the text 46, Krishna is emphasizing that you need to connect with me. And that's what yoga is, whether you do it through karma yoga, or jnana yoga, or dhyana yoga. But don't just do karma. Don't just do jnana. Don't just do dhyan. The yoga element has to be there. So do your karma, your work for me, right? As an offering to me. Do your jnana as jnana yoga. You're studying to try to learn more about me so that you can reestablish your loving relationship with me. Don't just do dhyan for the sake of being peaceful in your mind or whatever, but meditate on me with the desire to realize me and know me. And then it becomes yoga. So with yoga, everything is good. When everything's connected to Krishna, it's good and progressive and helpful and beautiful and glorious. Whatever we do without the yoga, without a connection with Krishna, is just a waste of time, basically. That's what Prabhupada says here, actually, in the purport. He says, let's see. Yeah, he says, asceticism without self-knowledge is imperfect. Empiric knowledge without surrender to the Supreme Lord is also imperfect. And fruitive work without Krishna consciousness is a waste of time. Therefore, the most highly praised form of yoga is bhakti yoga. And that's what Krishna says. So he says, be a yogi, connect everything to me, whether through jnana or karma or dhyan. But the best yogi is the bhakti yogi. Right? Of all the yogis, yogi nam api sarvesham, the best one, yuktatamo mataha, means the person who's most intimately united. Yukta means connected. The whole purpose of yoga is yukta, is that connection. And tamo means the best. So the best, or the most intimately, the most deeply, the most strongly connected to Krishna. The yogi that's most strongly connected to Krishna is the bhakti yogi. Is that one who mad gatenantar atmana means one who always thinks of me, one who's always abiding in me, thinks of me within himself. So that's the Bhakti Yogi. Bhakti Yogi is Manmana Bhava Bhakto, the one who's always thinking of Krishna. He's the Bhakti Yogi. And not just that, but Shraddhavan Bhajate Yomam, who's serving him, rendering transcendental loving service with faith. Shraddhavan, with faith. So Krishna doesn't come right out here and say Bhakti Yoga, but he describes the Bhakti Yogi. So that's what it means to be a Bhakti Yogi, is to always think of Krishna and to always serve Krishna with loving devotion and with Shraddha, with faith. That's basically what a Bhakti Yogi is. So he's saying that this is the person, and this is the best yogi, the highest of all. So in the purport, Prabhupada says, the culmination of all kinds of yoga practice lies in Bhakti Yoga. All other yogas are but means to come to the point of Bhakti in Bhakti Yoga. Yoga means Bhakti Yoga. All other yogas are progressions toward the destination of Bhakti Yoga. So, yeah. So he's saying that these other yogas, they're all meant to bring us to Bhakti Yoga. And they're just steps on the path of Bhakti Yoga. So it's like, if you're going upstairs, you're going to get to the second floor. Let's say someone lives on the second floor. So there are so many steps that you need to go, and you need to go to this landing and that landing, pass by the first floor, get to the second floor. And then, but the goal is the second floor, and the steps are they're just there to help you get to the second floor. But if you stop on the first floor, then it defeated the whole purpose, right? Or if you just stop somewhere on the stairs, then also you're nowhere, right? So all these other yogas, they're meant to bring us to Bhakti Yoga. If we just do them and just stop there, then it becomes meaningless, because the whole point is to come to the goal, which is loving Krishna. So what's the point of just controlling the mind unless we can think of Krishna? What's the point of having money if we don't use it to serve Krishna? What's the point of having knowledge if we don't know anything about Krishna? Right? Krishna is the goal. So all of these yogas are just steps to get us to bhakti. And if we just take the steps and we don't actually get to bhakti, then it's meaningless. It's like just standing there in the middle of the stairs. Okay. Kishore, you have a question about this?
Yes, Mataji.
Go for it.
That Mataji, I have a question about a yodi. So how can we become a yodi?
Ah, you want to be a yogi.
No.
So Prabhupada is saying here that yoga actually means bhakti yoga. So if you want to
Means
be a
he's
yogi,
means a disciple of Krishna, devotee of Krishna.
exactly, you got
Yes.
it perfectly. So being a yogi means being a devotee of Krishna. Okay,
Okay, Mataji.
good. Yeah, Prabhupada says that, he says it's a gradual process here. He describes the process here, kind of like the steps going up, right? Or the yoga ladder, we could say. Prabhupada says, from the beginning of karma yoga to the end of bhakti yoga is a long way to self-realization. Karma yoga, without fruitive results, is the beginning of this path. When karma yoga increases in knowledge and renunciation, the stage is called jnana yoga. When jnana yoga increases in meditation on the supersoul by different physical processes, and the mind is on him, it is called Ashtanga Yoga. And when one surpasses the Ashtanga Yoga and comes to the point of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, it is called Bhakti Yoga, the culmination. Bhakti Yoga is the ultimate goal, but to analyze Bhakti Yoga minutely, one has to understand these other yogas. So these are all just steps or parts which culminate in Bhakti Yoga. He says, the yogi who is progressive is therefore on the true path of eternal good fortune. One who sticks to a particular point and does not make further progress is called by that particular name, karma yogi, jnana yogi, or dhyana yogi, raja yogi, hatha yogi, etc. If one is fortunate enough to come to the point of bhakti yogi, it is to be understood that he has surpassed all other yogas. Therefore, to become Krishna conscious is the highest stage of yoga. Just as when we speak of Himalayan, we refer to the world's highest mountains, of which the highest peak, Mount Everest, is considered to be the culmination. So, yeah, people who practice the other yogas, they should understand that this is just a stepping stone. It's meant to bring me to a higher yoga. It's karma yoga is meant to bring me to jnana yoga, and jnana yoga is meant to bring me to Ashtanga yoga, and Ashtanga yoga is meant to bring me to bhakti yoga. So if it's not progressive, if they're not progressing, if they're just sticking with their karma yoga, then they're just a karma yogi, and they're going to have to take birth again to make the next step. So we have to always be growing. Even in bhakti, we have to always be growing. We can't just be like, all right, I'm getting my 16 rounds done every day. I'm following the 4 regs. I'm good. We have to go deeper. We can't just be like, all right, I finished Bhakti Shastri. I know the Bhagavad Gita and a few other books. I'm good. Because as soon as we become complacent, the word complacent means like, yeah, I'm all right. I'm just cruising, chanting my 16 rounds. I've done my Bhakti Shastri. I do a little service on Sunday. We're good. Then, see, it's like a material world is like you're in a river, and the river has a strong current, and you're swimming against the tide, right? Like someone was saying that Maya is so strong, especially if you live with, non-devotee people and you work with non-devotee people. It's like you're in that river and the river is just pushing you, and you need to swim very strong. If you've ever tried to swim against the river current, you have to swim very strong to make any progress at all. So trying to be a spiritual devotee in the material world is like going against the stream. Everybody else is pushing us the other way. Earn money, enjoy life, eat whatever you want, eat, drink, and be merry. Get a girlfriend, have fun with her, whatever, get a boyfriend, have fun with him. Whole world is like pushing us that way. And we're like trying to swim against that current. So we need to be strong. And if you ever were swimming against the stream, what happens? As soon as you stop swimming, then you start going backwards. So we can't stop endeavoring. We have to be constantly endeavoring for spiritual perfection. That's why it's important to every day chant and every day try to go a little deeper, try to take it a little higher, take our consciousness a little higher. Keep striving, right? Always striving for perfection, and then Krishna will keep helping us, and then we'll be able to make progress. Right? Prabhupada says the yogi who is progressive is on the true path of eternal good fortune. So we have to keep progressing, keep improving, always better service. Vaisheshika Guru says that, always better service. Never become complacent, never think, okay, now I've got up to speed, I can just put it on cruise control and just relax now. I got to a stage in my devotional service, I can just relax, put it on cruise and, sit back and enjoy the ride. It's not like that. You're going to be going, you're going to stop going forward and start going backward, and you can be in Maya's ride before you know it. So it's a fight, it's a battle, right? Srila Prabhupada said that when we decide to be a devotee in this material world, it's like declaring war against the material energy. So if you're fighting in a battle, you can't there's no point at which you can just put down your weapon and stand there and be like, okay, I'm going to chill. I'm just going to take a break now, and I'm just going to sit under a tree here. You're going to get killed. You got to be always on guard, always fighting. Or if you're going to take a break, make sure you're, in a safe place. Go back to the military base, go down into the foxhole, don't just be in the middle of the thick of it and be like, yeah, I think I'll just chill. Be in the association of devotees when you need to go on a retreat. Okay? So you need to be constantly striving for perfection. Prabhupada writes this nice paragraph in the purport. He says that it is by great fortune that one comes to Krishna consciousness on the path of bhakti yoga. And because it's so beautiful. You know, Krishna consciousness, Bhakti Yoga is so beautiful. We come to the point of knowing Krishna, and we can concentrate our attention on Krishna, who is Shama Sundar, who is the color of a beautiful cloud, whose lotus-like face is as effulgent as the sun, whose dress is brilliant with jewels, his body has flower garland, illuminating all sides is his gorgeous luster, and he incarnates in so many amazing forms, all beautiful transcendental forms, and he performs such amazing pastimes that are so attractive and interesting, and he has so many beautiful loving relationships with all of his devotees, and Mother Yashoda, and Nanda Maharaj, and Balaram, and the cowherd boys, and the gopis headed by Srimati Radharani, and the cows, and the calves, and the monkeys, and the birds, and the peacocks, and so many different servants and admirers. And there's just so much to immerse the mind in. You know, that's the glory of this path, is that we have so much to just absorb the mind in Krishna. Whole Srimad Bhagavatam is there, a lifetime of subject matter to reflect on. Chaitanya Charitamrita is there, another lifetime of subject matter to reflect on. And then there's so many other books by Goswamis, all the pastimes of Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan, Krishna and the queens in Dwarka, like going into so much detail. So being a bhakti yogi is very blissful and wonderful, and we become very intimately united with Krishna, right? Intimately united, Krishna says. So that's what we're trying for here. And we just need to keep trying. Okay, I'm going to stop talking here. And this is our last moments together in this course. So if you have any questions or reflections or anything, just go ahead. We've done a whole 6 chapters. It's been a journey. Barka.
Hare Krishna Mataji. I had a question that sometimes what happens that you are in a battle with your mind that am I audible?
Sometimes you're in what? You said, yeah, your voice is breaking.
Am I audible?
Yeah, try again.
Okay. So sometimes what happens that we get into a battle with our mind. We know what to do, we know what is correct, but it's hard to implement it.
Yeah.
What to do in that?
So, yeah, we need to be determined. That's
It's
why.
like, it's so blurry that, oh my God, I know this, I have to do it, but I can't do it. It's like something is pulling me back.
Yeah. So Arjuna says the same thing, right? He says, what is it that makes you do something that you don't want to do? As if you're being pulled into it by force. And what is Krishna's answer? He says it's lust only. So by lust, he means kam, he means material desire. So the reason that we end up doing things that we don't really want to do, that we know it's wrong, or we can't do things that we know are right, it's the same thing. It's material desire. So we need to fight against material desire. We need to understand where it's situated, right? It's situated in the senses, it's situated in the mind, it's situated in the intelligence. So it's very difficult because we're diseased in all parts of our being, all right? So then we need to get help, right? We need to find help. So you need to reach out, find someone who's strong, find somebody who is able to conquer over their material desires, find somebody who is victorious in their spiritual pursuits, and then take strength from that person, take mentorship from that person, take support from that person or people, and ask them to help you keep accountable, right? Tell them these are my personal spiritual goals. I want to do this every day. And please just maybe give me a call every day at this time and ask me whether I've done it or not. Right? Or send me a message, something to keep me accountable. Or find somebody, like say you want to do reading every day, but somehow you're not doing it. So get yourself a reading buddy, you know, and partner up with somebody who also wants to read. And then you show up and then you're going to read because they're depending on you to read together. You know, they're waiting for you at a certain day, a certain time, you're gonna read together, and if you don't show up, that's gonna be bad, right? So you need to be there for them, and then you'll also do your reading that way. So get yourself a reading or whatever it is, just find some way to keep yourself accountable.
Okay.
Okay, some practical ideas. Okay. Something else? Bina.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare. Yes, Mataji, my question is from verse 6.6. Here is written from him who has conquered the mind. The mind is the best of friend, and but one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy. And here in the purport, there is written the eightfold yogas.
Yes.
Mataji, when my question is when our mind is greatest enemy, our grand friend, or are the eight yogas?
We lost you there. Try saying the second part of the question again. Yeah, we
Mataji,
can't
my
hear
question
anything.
is when our
Okay.
mind is Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Mataji, my question is when our mind is the greatest enemy and when our mind is the great friend. And also about the word written here, the eightfold yogas.
Yeah, I mean, it's clear what Krishna is saying is that when the mind is controlled, it's the best friend. When the mind is uncontrolled, it's the greatest enemy. And the eightfold yoga means Ashtanga yoga, right? Yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. Is that what you wanted to know? Or something more?
Mataji, like a little bit like elaborate when we are always thinking of Krishna or serving Krishna, that is our mind controlled.
Yeah. Yeah, controlled mind means thinking of Krishna, right? Or being able to perform our activities in Krishna consciousness. Right? Like who was that was just asking the question? Like, why is it that sometimes we can't do the things that we know are the right thing to do? It's because the mind, right? Because mind has some material desire. Oh, that was Barka. Mind comes up with some material desire and just drags us away. So then we need to control the mind and train the mind that no, we're not pursuing material desires anymore. Maybe we did that many lifetimes, for many lifetimes. Maybe we did that in the beginning of this lifetime. We're done with that, not doing that anymore. Now we're going for Krishna. Now we're trying to connect more deeply with Krishna. So you need to just train the mind that way and then do everything for Krishna. And then comes to the point where the mind becomes your friend and the mind is taking you to Krishna. But it takes some time, right? It takes some practice over a period of time. So don't despair if you're struggling with your mind. That's just normal. But just keep going. Just keep doing your best and praying for Krishna for the rest. And the mind will come under control sooner or later. Okay, something else? Krishna Priya.
Hi, Krishna Mataji. I just want to share when my feedback regarding our the 6 sessions. I don't have a question now. I really want to thank you because like we feel very honored and privileged to get these kind of wonderful sessions with you. And thank you so much for guiding us through the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. Like personally, I was not aware how to read Bhagavad Gita in in a way which helped me to see the teaching of Bhagavad Gita are still alive and are easy to understand. And you help us to help us to understand Bhagavad Gita in a theme wise. Like this is the vision of a yogi, and the bhakti yogi, and before that you were talking about the karma kand and karma yogi. So every sessions you taught us in a very theme, like in a theme way, so it was very easy to understand. And I remember some of your teachings, like be a highly qualified servant of Krishna, and the examples which you gave to us, the connections, the pastimes which you shared with us, your experiences which you shared with us. So it really helped us and inspired us to apply these lessons in our lives, in our daily lives, especially in my life. And one more thing which I wanted to share, that uh, like I don't know, maybe it's a very a childish thing which I'm going to say, but there one example when I mentioned it to Bimla Prasad Prabhu, that the way you glorified the Guru Parampara, it really helped me to understand the Guru Parampara exactly. Like you gave the example of a milk, the boiling milk, and it touched my heart in a very deep way that I'm still, it's like roaming in my in my mind. So thank you so much, Mataji, for these wonderful sessions and for guiding us. I pray to Krishna that whatever you have instilled or installed all these teachings in us, I pray to Krishna that may we live with these teachings and may we apply in our life. So thank you so much, Mataji, for your association. So I just wanted to share my feedback. Thank you.
Thank you
So
very
yeah,
much.
so Krishna Priya stole the thunder away from me. So yes, Prabhupada Majay, it's like I tried not to miss any session, although sometimes there were other exigencies, but uh, to say like plainly, I love hearing you. So that's why I was here. I never, they won't, they might, the students might be expecting that I'll be sitting through the whole Bhakti Shastra. I'm not going to do that. The only time I am going to be here because you were here and other things to take care of. But God. So, but yeah, and this was the kind of start we needed for this, all these devotees from Pakistan. And I'll take this opportunity to also invite you on behalf of everybody. Maybe they should do that. I'm sitting in India. I'm not a Pakistani, I'm Indian. Like, but yeah, I would strongly like recommend, I'll beseech you that if you find the time to please pay a visit to Pakistan. Contrary to what, like you are with them for the last 1 month. Oh, you must be having an idea what it is like. It's not as terrifying as it is in the media. So I'll strongly recommend. I'll request you with folded hands. I'm beseeching you. I'm imploring you. You take some time out, and even if it's a short visit, come to Pakistan. Help all of us and allow us to serve you. And now now that like with this 1 month of interaction, it will be far more easier. Like you are not a stranger anymore to us. So if you kindly, and this all these devotees, they will host you. And I have to tell you, yeah, and they are gonna feed you like anything up till the neck.
Oh no. I know.
That's the Pakistani way of treating devotees. Last time I went, so I had an upset stomach. Thanks to they would feed me, but there's a lot of love. Yeah, you can please be with the devotees there, and yeah, they would be more than happy to meet you, and they will get you a personal association. You see, that's one aspect. That was the sole reason, not even the primary, the sole reason why I try to be organized this Bhakti Shastri, so that they can get association of you. It's like there's other devotees like His Holiness Vrindavan Maharaj, so many. It's because they will possibly never get an association. Like nobody comes to Pakistan, nobody comes in, nobody goes out. So it's like if you take that trouble for us and come to Pakistan, it was a short trip.
Is it difficult? Is it difficult for the Pakistani devotees to go to India? Is it difficult to cross the border?
No, not difficult, impossible.
Oh, really? Because I was telling somebody about it, and I was thinking
borders are
it must
slammed
be,
shut.
huh?
But the borders are slammed shut. No visas,
'Cause
nothing.
someone said there's a train that goes from India to Pakistan.
Yeah, there used to be there's like long time ago, and
Oh,
there's
it's not there anymore.
yeah, it's long time ago. The only train to Pakistan we remember is of the slaughter of 1947. So as a book actually. Anyway,
I was
forget it.
thinking it must be so frustrating to be so close, to Vrindavan, Mayapur, but then you
Yes,
can't go.
yes, yes, that's a fact. And that's why they are even like, like dying for some association. Devotees
Uh-huh.
usually like they're hard to come by. So, and like I'm looking for devotees like you, I'm telling you, like, plainly without any, without any preliminaries actually. If you like, they will be very much be nourished actually. If you have chance to come to Pakistan, they will arrange everything for you. Everything. Come on, you with your American passport, you don't need a visa also. I think it's a visa on arrival, as what I understand.
No, I need a visa. And the other thing is, when I apply for my Indian visa, they ask me, have you been to Pakistan in the last 6 months? And if I say yes, they say, okay, you're not coming
Okay.
to India then.
You're not coming to India. Yeah, I see. Yeah. There is such a thing. 15
Becomes
days or something.
suspicious.
Yeah. Something like that.
That's
Oh my
difficult.
God. So now it's like right after your visit to India, if you go to Pakistan, that's not such a problem. Then after that, like because you come once in a year, right? When you come to Brindavan and then you go to Mayapur sometimes. Generally, you come to Brindavan, right?
Yeah.
So anytime during the year, even if it's like a whirlwind trip, 7 days, 4 days, whatever, there will be so much, like we all will be very much obliged. They will arrange everything. They'll arrange everything. They'll arrange your tickets, everything they will arrange. Don't worry about it. You see, these people whom you are sitting with, this is a community in Pakistan, they call Sindhi. Okay. So Sindhi community. The Sindhi community is the richest community in Pakistan, not just in Pakistan, in India, probably around the world.
Okay.
Yeah, why not? Like you have your like in UK, they had some Mamdani, Zoran Mamdani. Mamdani is a Sindhi. So it's just Sindhis are very rich people. You see, just like in India, the Marwadis, the Bania Marwadis.
Yeah.
Yeah, the like 10 Bania Marwadis like one Sindhi.
Okay.
So please come over. They will really, it will be very good. Thank you, Prabhupadapriya Maji, for opening for us. And it's like, like another thing which you did inadvertently, you made sure that nobody is going to run away from the Bhakti Shastri.
How's that?
You made it so interesting, so absorbing. Yeah. So now they are like simply just got hooked to it. So yeah, I hope that like next 5 months, yeah, it will be followed by Chandrasekhar Acharya. Then it will be Yadunandan Maharaj for 7 to 12 of Bhagavad Gita. Chandrasekhar Acharya is doing the nectar of instruction. Then
You're gonna do nectar of instruction now?
after this,
Like
after
you're
this.
gonna break up the Bhagavad Gita?
Yeah, I'm gonna get because like the idea was to take the sadhana bhakti part of the Ananya bhakti part of Bhagavad Gita with
Oh, I see.
nectar devotion, nectar devotion. Just
Well,
like
that's
that.
good because I was referring to a lot of verses from nectar devotion. I was referring to nectar of
Yeah.
instruction.
Yeah. So it's like that. So
Okay.
and there's some variety. Otherwise, like sometimes devotees might think, "Oh God, when will this book end?" So it's like, Thank you so much, Prabhupada Mataji. I don't know, there are other devotees too. Maybe they're here to, a few words of appreciation. It's Krishori Mataji. Would like to, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Kishori ji.
Mataji, I also want to give feedback.
Okay, go ahead.
That Mataji, first I don't know the Bhagavad Gita deeply first this chapter, but Mataji, you explain us very nicely by giving your experience, examples, and I liked it very much.
Yay, I'm happy that you liked it.
And your explanation means it touched my heart and fixed to my mind for permanently.
All right, well, it was a success then. Thank you. Thank you, Kishori, for being so enthusiastic and always having good questions and reading
Thank you,
Srila
Mataji.
Prabhupada's purports. Hare Krishna.
Raki Mataji next, and then Marka, and we'll be able to close there.
Ajay, I just wanted to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. You were really very beautifully explained us and deeply explained us, clears our mind, and you just I want to say few words that you just starts changing my life. So it's really overwhelming. So thank you so much for your precious time.
Yeah, there's one feedback also. There is also a word of appreciation for you in the message also. In the meantime, maybe Barka Maji would like to go on. Go on.
Okay. First, I want to thank Raki for being such an eager participant. She was always very alert, very thoughtful, asking good questions, engaging personally, sharing stories. So I really appreciate your participation. Keep it up.
Big shout out.
With us and come to Pakistan, we are very, very overwhelmed.
Okay, Barka.
Hare Krishna Mataji. I also want to just show my heartfelt gratitude. A lot of questions have been answered, a lot of confusions have been cleared, and it was very inspirational, I would say. Like, we have been changed a lot. It was such a great time with you. Thank you so much. We're so grateful.
Thank you very much. Very kind.
Shobha.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhanusam. So many words are there to say, but nothing is very very much. I think whatever. I just want to say that we will very miss you. We will very miss you.
Yeah, we've just spent 30 hours together.
Yeah, but there is a connection that is very very strong.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Very kind, very sweet of you.
Yeah. So now the test of that connection will be that if you people can all put together, convince Prabhupada to pay a visit to Pakistan.
Oh my God.
Okay. Okay, thank you. In the interest of time, all good things must come to pass. Thank you so much, Prabhupada Mataji. All goes to Prabhupada Mataji. All goes to Srila Prabhupada.
I wish you all,
Hare Krishna Mataji.
I wish you all the best for the rest of your studies, and may Srila Prabhupada and Radha Krishna bless you with transcendental knowledge and realization and application and a beautiful life in their service.
Thank you.
Jai Prabhupada.
Thank you,
Jai
Mataji.
Everyone.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Thank
Hare
you so
Krishna
much.
Mataji.
Mataji, thank
Hare
you so
Krishna,
much.
thanks. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.